Hey everybody, welcome to One Deck Dungeon, put out by Asmodee DI Games. Interesting. I don't have the original. This is the sequel to it. It's actually also an expansion. You can mix it with the original one, but you can play this 1, 2, or 4 players. Really designed to kind of as a solo thing, but you can play it 2 pretty well. And also they have rules now for 4 with this new expansion. And they've added in some things like poison. So I'm just going to kind of walk you. This is just about everything in the deck. The first thing you want to do is choose your hero. So I've chosen the Slayer here. And I wish they kind of would have gave her a name. But you choose, if you're playing 2-player, you put the 2-player side. 1-player, obviously, you put the 1-player side. You get a heroic feat down here. And you get a skill. These off to the left here are your natural abilities, basically like your combat, your agility, and your magic, and these hearts represent your life. Now these dice also represent like how many you will roll. So this is basically your combat are the same colored dice that match the swords, and magic for blue, your agility is the pink, and these are basically, they're kind of like wild dice, but they're called heroic dice, and you can use them in a certain amount of way. Now I want to let you guys know ahead of time, these white icons are potions. These are poison counters, but I have played this through a few times. I've tried to look up a few rules, so I may get some stuff wrong, but I'm going to play it probably about 80 to 95% right. I mean, so just bear with me. So I apologize to anybody out there who is an expert on this game. I tend to make errors, and if I discover them later, I will point them out to myself. So I'm going to go ahead and say I will make some errors, but I will probably, my intent is to play it as good as possible. Okay, so we have your hero that you pick, and then you want to pick out your boss, your end boss that you're going to fight at the end of the game. And I picked out Indrax. He's a cool looking dragon. So let me try to pull that up a little bit closer so you can see it. It shows that he has 8 health. And then it says he has his special ability is any 3s rolled are immediately discarded. I'm going to read this to you now because there's a good chance I won't live to see this because most of these heroes only have 5 health, and I die quite a bit when I've played this. And these are the little things that you have to require with your dice to deal damage to them and whatnot. So like if it has a little shield on it, you have to make sure you allocate dice there. If it has a single square, you can only put 1 dice, and it has to be that number or higher. On this, on the rectangles, you can put as many dice as you want to satisfy that number, but they have to be that type. Now, there's other things that let you bend the rules a little bit, but this is definitely a heavy dice manipulation game. So if you like chunking some dice and doing things with your cool ability, that's great. Also, the Slayer, her ability here is heroic feat is roll any or all of your dice stored here. So there's no dice stored here yet, but it tells you how to. It says you store a heroic die whenever you complete a combat encounter. You may store up to 2 dice at a time, so you can have 2 up here, and that ability is called momentum. And then her special ability through using agility is basically if I place a die here, want to use my dice after I roll, it can be whatever number it's on, but I just put it there, probably the lowest one. It will increase my any sword and magic that I roll die by 2, so I'd crank them up to 2. And there are creatures that are resistant to that thing. So after you've chosen your monster, you're going to flip it over to show kind of like the threat level on your monsters. And it'll go underneath your little turning reference. It reminds you of what's going on here. So right here, you have to go through 3 levels of the dungeon, and if you beat all 3 of them, then you're good. So not only do you have to beat the stuff on each monster card, I now have to beat these requirements. If it's a combat, I reference this side, and if it's a trap, it'll be that side. So anyway, we have the stairs to go to the dungeon. I just kind of turn it sideways to make a little bit more room here. These are like the monster cards. And so this is a null. And so he's a combat. And basically here's a special ability he has. And I'll just announce each one as it comes up. And then this is the requirements I need to do. Anything that you can't cover up with the dice, you have to suffer the consequences. In this game, there are several consequences. You might get poisoned. You might get damage, which you put hearts on your person. Poison goes on your person as well. Or you can lose time, which is the biggest thing, which is taking decks off of the dungeon. The thing is, you kind of want to go through the dungeon efficiently, quickly, but not, you don't want time to pass because you want to gain levels. So right here, shows you how to level up. Right now I'm level 1, so I can have 1 item, and that's anything on a monster. They actually count as the reward. Let me just show you one here, and I'll burn it here. Well, I'll have to burn it at the beginning anyway, so it's okay. But like, if I choose to, so this is a fight. So if I beat this mushroom guy here, ice shroom, I can do 3 things as a reward. I can put it below my card to add myself a new skill ability. I can put it off to the left to add an item, which makes increases my swords by 3. But at level 1, I can only have 1 item. And at level 1, I can only have 2 skills, which that doesn't count your basic skill here, though. Also, during setup, you're going to put a potion on the start potion, and you get this basic healing potion that it can heal a health anytime, or you can heal a health or poison anytime a potion effect is used. So when you use a potion, you can pick any of the potions you've stored, because some of these rewards, instead of skills, will be potions, and you can slide it under there to stack to show your potions that you use. And also the last thing you can do is to level up. You use the right part of the card. There's these little, let me see if I can get you a little zoom on that. I apologize for my camera. Like this throws 3 dots, so that shows 3 experience. So you just kind of tuck it under here, and when I get 6 experience, I can level up. And then I'll go to level 2, which increases. Now I can hold up to 3 items, which increases my abilities, and I can have up to 3 skills. And I get to add a potion for reaching level 2 to my thing. And there's an encounter bonus, which means I get to put a die here. So basically, I get to roll a wild die every turn on that. So that's really nice. And they just kind of get a little bit better. But there's basically up to level 4, which really pumps you up, which is nice. So you want to be as high level as possible to try to beat the boss. So this boss that I'm fighting, Indrax, the Lair of Indrax, he is a level 3, which is the hardest monster. So there's like one level 1, a couple level 3s, a couple level 2s. So I decided just to shoot the moon and go for it. Okay, so my character will start off with 4 agility dice, which are the pink ones with the boots. I'll have 2 sword dice, and of course I have that much health. And I'm just trying to remind myself of my abilities because, like I said, this is a manipulation game. So on your turn reference, the first thing you do, you can either explore or enter a room. And at the beginning of the turn, you have to basically let time pass. So I have to throw in the discard pile 2 times. Maybe I'll put it on this side so it's out of the way there for you guys. Okay, so that's all I can really do this turn. But it says also at the end of explore, I have to check for poison, basically. So if I resist poison, I have to make a roll based upon how many encounters on here. So I don't have to do that. We'll cover that when I get to it, which is pretty simple. Now, my first action, I'm going to explore. So I burn 2 times, and now that means explore means I'm going to make 4 dungeon doors here that I can explore through. Avenues of adventure, if you will. Now I can't enter a room because I chose the explore reference. So that basically ends my turn because that's encounters, nothing else to reference. So I go to the top of the turn again, which means I have to burn through 2 times. Okay, so now I'm going to just enter a random dungeon here. Let's see what I'm facing. Okay, this is actually a physical encounter. This is a Shadow Stalker worth 4 experience, so it means it's pretty tough to beat. And I'm not very good in blue dice, and I need to cover those or I'll suffer those consequences. Also, what makes this game hard is, and I've briefly discovered this before, anything with a shield, you have to cover that first. Also, when I'm facing the Lair, I have to cover his ability too. And he also, if I don't put at least 7 value of blue dice over here, I will lose 3 times. That's what the hourglass means. And also, so this is a pretty tough thing. I don't know if I can beat this. Now, if I just face it, even if I don't cover up a thing, I suffer all the consequences, I will still get this as a reward because I faced it. But let me tell you, if I face this and lose, I'm going to end up taking 3 damage. I might be able to cover that in the blue. Let's see what I can manipulate. Well, let's see. Roll any of your dice here. So, well, it won't be till next turn that I can have a black dice on here to help me out. Let's see. Increase. That's a skill if I win. Wow. And it's also, its first ability says, spend a time for each 6 rolled. So if I roll a 6 here, which I need to have 2 of them anyway for the ones I roll, I guess not manipulate, but I'm going to lose time on that. So I'm going to pass on this guy, but he'll stay there. So I can choose to flee. So I'll flee, and I can enter him another time, although now I'm wasting more time trying to find something better. So I go back to the beginning of the turn. I let time pass, and I'm going to try to explore this way and hope it's not nearly as bad. Okay, this is a level 2, so this should be at least a little easier. Only 1 blue here. Unfortunately, there's a lot of blue up here, so sometimes people like to match their thing with the monster, which you have to deal with. So let's see. First thing is, let's see, for the pack, this Goblin, he's a pack hunter. For each closed door, I spend 1 time, and that happens right now. That's his ability to trigger. So I lose, I'm going to have to spend time for the 2 closed doors that I have here. And now I'm going to go ahead and face him. So this is a combat, which means I roll all the dice I have. So I have 1 blue, 2 yellow, and 4 agility. And I'm going to face this guy, and let's see what I can do. Now, there's a couple of rules that you'll find interesting here. So I usually group my colors together to see what I've done here. Oops, I just knocked that over. I think that was a 3 or 4. You guys can yell at me later. Actually, I'll re-roll to be fair. Okay, 1. I deserve that. Okay. So instantly, like, I can cover the 5 to cover the 4 there, but if anything has a shield, none of them do. So I don't have to cover anything first. But if I'm not assigning my dice yet because you're supposed to do all your manipulation, but I'm just kind of looking at it to see what I can do. And I could cover a 4 here and a 3 here naturally. And I'd have to suffer all these consequences, which may be how it works, but let me see if there's anything I can do here. Actually, that's a poison. Okay, because there's things you can do, like you can sacrifice 2 dice of any kind and take the lower value and turn it into a wild. And a wild can be placed on anything, but it's only that lower value number. But it's helpful when you're trying to do multiple things, like in the 7. But I don't think, I mean, technically, if I want to not lose 3 time, I could spend these 2 together to chunk it, to discard that and get 3 wild, and that's blue 7. I can put that over there to cover the 7, and I won't lose 3 time. But that means I can cover this or this. This is definitely what I'm going to cover with that. If I do that, then I think that's all I can do, because all those take 1 dice apiece. So I'm either going to lose time, or if I keep the 4 and a 3, I would cover 2. So I think this is actually more efficient. I will do that. Okay, so basically these dice won't get spent. I will cover this part of this and that part of that, so I won't suffer those consequences, but I will lose 1, 2, 3 time, 4 time, because hourglasses. I will take 1 damage, and I will get a poison counter. But this card has been encountered, so I get to take it as a victory. Even if I do poorly like I did, I still get it, because if not, you will not be able to progress the game. And make sure that you, and it says anytime my heroic feat, roll any or all of your dice here. Okay, yeah. And it says when I complete a encounter, yeah. So I get to put a wild die here. So before you decide to face something, you have to choose to use this die now. But I can store up to 2 dice, so that can be rolled later if I need it. So I've gained this. Do I want its ability, or do I want to? Let's see. I can spend 2 to roll 3, but discard 1 of them. That'd do really good on low dice for agility. Or I can add another sword to me, which helps my sword play, which is good. Or I can gain 2 experience. I think I'm going to add it to my sword. So you just tuck it underneath your character, kind of like so. And now I will roll 3 dice of the yellow for my sword ability. So I have 4 of those, 1 of those. Everything's correct. Okay, new turn. Time passes. Now, do I feel tough enough now to take on this guy? Well, I feel a little better, because I can handle, but there's a lot of blue I'd have to suffer consequences. But boy, he's worth 4 experience. And if I spend 2 swords, he has this pretty cool ability as well for skills. So, boy, this is the tough part of the game. Sometimes you take a beating in the beginning, but instead, I'm going to not re-enter that room. I'm going to explore here. I mean, excuse me, not explore. I'm going to open this door. Exploring is laying out new cards to fill up to 4. All right. Oh, another big guy here. So basically, now I've committed since I went into this door. Wow, and he's a monster. If you see the little green thing, it's a trap. It's not necessarily a trap, but a different type of obstacle, peril, I think the game calls them. So basically, I have to choose one of these 2 in a peril. I either have to choose. Oh, this one's not a peril though. But in peril, you have to make a choice between which row you want to choose. Well, you'll see that when I get to one. Okay, so basically, I'm facing this rockworm, acid spray. I place a poison on my hero just for facing this guy. He just spit in my face. That's not very nice. So, I'll roll my dice here. Okay, I got a lot of good numbers. This is good news. The thing that scares me is this Lair of Indrax. He's on a timetable. Boy, you lose 3 time, and until I can pump up my blue, I'm going to be suffering from that the entire game. Let's see what I can do here. Okay. Well, I can lose 2 life, but I found in this game losing time is better than losing life. Give yourself a chance. I didn't declare this. I probably should have. I could have used that at the beginning. Wow. What do I want to do? What's my other ability? I can put an agility here, and that would let me increase this by one of these by 2 and one of these by 2. So let's go ahead and do that. It can only go up to a max of 6, but I'll do that by 2, and I'm going to increase this to 3, which at least allows me now. I can cover that 12. Oh, there's a shield here. I have to cover that first. Dang it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spend a 6 and a 5 of any colors, and I get the lower number as a wild or a heroic dice, and I'll use that to cover the shield, because you have to cover the shield first or at least make sure it's covered to be able to successfully encounter this guy. So I'll spend the 13 to cover the 12 here. 6 isn't going to do anything there. That's not going to do anything there. I really wish that I used my heroic die. I could have took less. So now I have to suffer the consequences. So I'm going to lose 3 time up here, 2 time here, and I'm going to gain 2 poison and take a damage. So, and 3 more damage, I'm going to die. Did I mention this game can kind of be brutal? But I get to store another heroic die because I encountered another creature here. So I lose how much time? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wow. And when if I do make it to the end of the stairs, this will bump down, and now I would not only have to complete this, but this and this, or else suffer the consequences. So that's the thing, is why you don't want to rush too much. Now I got to figure out if I want to use this as an ability or for experience. I took a beating for this guy, but let's see. I can prevent a damage by spending 2 guys here and gain a 6. Oh, well, that's a really good. I'm going to use this ability, Faint. And that goes kind of underneath your card. I wish they had a little better stacking system, because you're constantly adjusting all these, which I shouldn't complain. It's a relatively inexpensive game for pretty decent, all the dice you get. Bought it at Cool Stuff Inc. Let's see here. 4, 3, and 6. Okay, so what do I want to do? Beginning of the turn, lose time. Still got 4 agility, only 1 magic, and 3 swords. Okay, do I want to take on the shapeshifter now? I am lacking in blue. I'm going to explore this, which means I have to face it no matter what by opening this door. I keep using the word explore, but that's only when you're refilling. Okay, so this one doesn't look as bad. Okay, so this is a physical encounter, so a combat encounter. So I'll go ahead and encounter this. But the first thing is we look, Pack Hunter, for each closed door. Oh, okay, I don't have any closed doors, so I won't lose any time for that. So I've already beat this guy once already. That's good. Okay, my dice rolls. 6, 6, 1, 3, 6, 3, 1, and a 4 on the blue. So boy, I'm going to be losing time like crazy. Oh, I should have declared my dice. You guys are supposed to remind me. I get so focused, but I guess I'll have to do that next time. That's all right. I can manipulate stuff here with my agility. So I definitely can do 5. Is there any shield? So I don't have to do anything first. So I can go ahead and kind of I can kind of cover this. But let me see first. At first I can do this. I can use 2 dice here on the bottom ability, and that lets me prevent 1 damage that will be dealt to me. If I don't happen to cover 1, I won't take the damage, and I gain a 6 die. So I put that there. And do I want to use one? See, I only have one of these here. Increase a sword and a magic by 2. Well, that would help me greatly. I wonder if I never looked up if I could put a wild die here, because I know I can use it to cover these. But can I use it to cover these? Because then that'd be a good way to use your stupid ones. You could cheap chump them and use that ability. You know what? 6, 4. I can't do that, but that would let me increase that and that. So I covered 2 more. So I think that makes more sense. Okay, so I could cover 3 of those, but that's all right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my agility here. I'm going to increase one of these by 2, which will be, what would that move it up to? I think it was on 2 or 3. As long as it gets up to 4, that's all it really counts. Okay, and now, and sorry if I wasn't paying attention. I knew that I just need to bump 1 up to get it up to 4, but, and that will move this up to a 6. I've used all my abilities, so it's time to play some dice. So I'm going to put the 6 to cover the poison. I'm going to use the 6 and the 3 to cover these 2, only because that'll be 1 or 2 damage. Well, I guess I could do this to cover damage, and that will prevent my last damage over there. Let's see. So I can do, let me take a look, 6, 4. No, I'll do it that way. That makes more sense. Okay, so now I didn't cover this, so to suffer the consequences, I lose 3 time. 1, 2, 3. I lose a time and a damage, but since I use my ability, I'm going to prevent 1 damage, so I'll be even on that, but I do lose a time. And I have beat another goblin. Little weird goblin. And I can't have a second skill. I can roll this to increase the die by 1. Okay, it's 2 abilities. If I take this, if I put one of these dice on there, I get to roll one of these, and then I'd keep it and increase a die by 1. That's actually not bad if I roll a bad low number for a second ability. I'm going to do that just for abilities. Although I got to find a way to get me some blue. I better start leveling up here pretty soon. All right. So we got the beginning of the next turn. I got my dice. 4, 3, and 1. I lose 2 time. Now this is what might hurt me here. I'm going to go ahead and use a potion. Just to heal a wound. Because I have a feeling I might be taking that back here, because instead of facing this guy right off the bat, man, I don't want to explore. Now I'll go ahead and I'll face this guy. I'll explore to get all 4 cards out, because I got so many poison counters. The odds of me taking poison is a pretty good bet. But there's a little thing that can help me in a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and face this guy. And he's a straight up combat encounter. So the nice thing is, oh, you know what? I'm going to use my dice before I forget. So now maybe I can stop some of their damage here. Woo, and good rolls from those heroic feat dice. Man, oh man, this is an outstanding roll. This is not usually in my rolling well capacity, guys. Let's see what I got here. Okay, so blue's my hardest to get. Do I have shields? I have to cover 2 blue shields first, which is fine. So I can cover those straight up. I might be able to get everything except for the other ones. Let me just, before I officially place, I know I have to cover these 2 shields. So let's just say I did this and this with those. That would satisfy that. I'm not going to worry about that yet. That gives me a damage and a poison. That loses time. I'd rather lose time than take any more poison and damage. So what are my abilities here? What are these? Yeah, that's only blue. Boy, I really need to get some more magic on my team. I can increase the die by 1, which is great, but so I'm going to spend this low sword here for this ability. So I'm going to roll a die. It's a 2, and I'm going to increase a die by 1. I don't really need. I'm going to move this 4 to a 5. Wait a second. I need a 6 there, don't I? But I do have a 6 here. If I move that to a 6, I can use somewhere else. Okay, so I'll move that 5 to a 6 on my, I swear there's a 4 on here, people. I'll move this 5 to a 6. Okay, what's my other ability I can use? If I spend 2 agility dice, which I'm not really using them, what can I do with this? I can prevent a damage this turn, and I gain a 6. Well, that's good. I will do that. So I'm going to place these 2 agility dice here. I'll gain a 6, and I will prevent the first point of damage that I take this turn. All right, let's see what I can do here. That would do that. I'd get a poison counter. Boy, I really don't want to take poison anymore. So I got a 6 here and a 4 here for sure. Got a 6 here to cover that. And I'm also going to convert. Technically, I'm supposed to convert my dice before I put them on, but this is me just kind of looking. So, wow. Okay, so it brings me down to this final choice. I can either stop a poison and a damage, by that and lose 3 time, or this is a wild. I can sacrifice these 2 6s to give me a wild 6, a heroic 6, and I can put that over here to maintain that so I don't lose 3 time, and all I would get is a poison. But man, I am grabbing poison like crazy. Oh gosh. I don't know, man. This is not good for the poison. I'm gonna have to do it this way. I'll cover this, and I'll come up 1 short over there. So basically, I'm gonna lose 3 time as my separate consequences on the way to the lair to beat this guy. But I'm gonna take this, and he has a great ability. But I think I just either need his magic or his 4 experience, and I'm gonna have to take his magic because I only have the 1 pump up card right now. Like I said, I wish they'd make these a little easier to maintain instead of having to move my stuff each time. But you know what? It's not that big of a deal. Okay. And those are my... Oh, I can only have 1 item. I'm at level 1. Dang it. You know what? I'm going to use them for experience then. Because I need to level up because I need to get some more stuff. So if I get at least 2 more experience, I'll discard those cards and I will gain that. Okay. Well, that went pretty well. But now I'm going to do... I don't have anything to face. So the first thing I do is I lose 2 time. And then I'll explore, which brings out 4 cards here for us to look at. And unfortunately, when I explore, now I have to try to resist poison. And by resisting poison, I count this dice. I roll a die. If there was any encounters that had open doors with leaves on them, the natural environment would help me to add 1 to my roll, but it's not. So I have to roll a 5 or a 6, or I'm going to take a health and damage. But I do get to remove that anyway. So I rolled a 3, so I get to remove a poison, but unfortunately I take a damage for that. So that's how that works for the exploring and poison resistance. Oh, that's right. I don't get that extra die yet. I just kept dreaming that I did. Okay. Always trying to keep my dice nice over here. Okay. And, oh, what did I beat? Was he a physical encounter? Yes, he was. I'll get to put one of these guys back here. So that's nice. As long as I keep facing those guys, I can almost keep one in the storage area. All right, new round. Time passes. I'm going to open a door. Okay, this is one of those perils. Now, we haven't seen one of these yet. On this peril, I have to either choose to try to strike it down or evade thorns. But the good and the bad with this is I can only, to do this, I can only use the dice shown. And over here on the other side shows I need a 5. And that means you basically have to use the same type of dice. But I lose the time if I try to strike it down. And I should be able to pretty easily roll a 9 by only rolling those dice. But all I need to do is roll a 12 with this, and with 2 bad dice, I can guarantee a 6 and prevented damage. Or I can convert one, because I'm not so much worried about losing time at this point, because, oh, excuse me, no, this one's a poison, so I can put one over there. And none of them has a shield, so, okay, so I need to get a 5 over there or a 12 here. I think I'm going to try my luck with, because I can use as many dice as possible. So I'm going to evade thorns. There's no penalty for trying that. If I try to strike it down, I'd lose a time. So, okay, I got 12 here. So it looks like I can't quite. So I'm going to have to choose one or the other, because I can't do both. I could have tried to roll my heroic ahead of time, but I didn't declare it. So what happens if I do this? If I use a die here, I increase one of those other 2, so that doesn't help me. But if I use 2 here, I prevented damage and get a 6. But it doesn't matter. I still won't be able to cover that. So I'm just going to cover these up here, so I evade the thorns for the bad damage. And I have to suffer the consequences, which is I get a poison. I've been trying to get rid of him, but here comes Mr. Poison back again. But I beat this guy. Adds me agility, which I don't need. His second ability is actually really good, but I need the experience. So this will give me 7. Now that'll level me up. So I'm going to put those in the discard over here, and then I'll move up to the next level. So when you level up, it tells you what to do. I get to add a potion to the potion people. I now get to keep a heroic die over here. That wasn't a peril, so I don't get another one of these. And I now can hold 3 items, so now I can get some blue. I can put it up here to try to balance me out. And 3 skills, and that's beyond your basic. So I have a basic, and then I get, or my starter skill, and then 1, 2. So I can actually hold 1 more skill now instead if I want. All right, new round. Oh, I'm getting close to the end of this dungeon. The first level anyway. So it's 3. I'm going to try to go through here. It's a wisp. It's a combat witch. Ooh, but man, look at all that blue. I don't have I don't really have a way to stop that. Oh my goodness. No, I will flee from that. And I'll try a different door. Oh gosh. That is not good. Let me try to see what's in here. Okay, what's in this guy here? Okay, this is a peril. Oh, this is definitely beatable for me. So I'm going to choose, I can clear a path by getting 7. Or I can roll 4 dice for 10. I think that's a better thing because that's more odds. I'm going to, I'll lose my wild die if I do that. That's okay. I'm going to use my wild die to, I may not even need it, but maybe, oh yeah, look at that. I'm going to put that wild die over here, and I can put all these dice here. I'm not going to take anything. That's awesome. I destroyed that. I got around it. I just ran right through and didn't take any damage. Okay, so this here is agility. I don't need agility. Its abilities, if I have 2 swords, I get to roll 1 of each kind, increase 1 of them that I guess roll by 1. Boy, that's not a bad ability, but I really just need pure blue. Kind of need to level up too. Wow. Do I take it for the ability or experience, guys? What do you guys think? really like that ability, though. I don't think I'm going to face anything big yet. This could really be a good one for later, but I'm going to go ahead and just chump that for 2 experience. Okay. Time passes. Oh, what is this? This card was upside down. Oh, this was another. Oh, that was another boss. Okay. So 1, 2. There's nothing else here. So if you look at your stairs, you see that I've made it to the end, but it says, when visible, place a damage token here for each time spent. So so it's visible, and I spend a time, so I put one there. If there are ever 3 tokens here, place one on a hero and remove the other 2. At the end of any turn, the heroes may descend. If this card is revealed when spending time to start a turn, the heroes may descend immediately. So I don't have 3 tokens on there, so that gives me time to try to clean up here in the dungeon if I want. So that was the springtime, so I'll just see what's here anyway, because if I don't like anything at the beginning of the turn, I can always leave. Okay, so this is a combat. This is in more of my wheelhouse. I get to roll my 4, 3, and 1, and then plus it'll give me, I still have I forgot, I got a wild die here, encounter bonus I can use. Alright. Oh, don't forget that. Okay. So yeah, stupid, what was I fighting? Oh yeah, this guy, this Spikalon. Oh, wait a second. First thing, I suffer poison when you place a 5 on this card. Wow, okay. I got a couple of 5s here. That's rude. I'm already racking up the poisons. Okay, let's see what I can do to manipulate. I don't really need, well, I'm going to lose time as well. If I don't, 3 times, I don't think the blues are going to help me this turn, so I've got these covered. I've got 2 of those covered. I got the 3 over there covered. Which kind of leaves me with this. Okay, so I'm going to spend this, which increases one of these die by 2, so 1 to a 3 and a 3 to a 5. I'm going to take a wound if I don't cover the time over here, because whenever I would have to deal with time, I might have to actually take a wound instead. Boy, this is some tough stuff, peoples. I don't want to take a time for sure, so I'm going to put that there. Nothing has a shield, sorry. I'm just looking at it. No, that's a 4. This is a no-brainer for the 4 and the 3. Use a 3 that it actually has. So 5 and 4. I can't really use. I use it up there. Okay, so it'll come out perfect then. Okay, 6, 5 and 5 cover the pink, and 5 plus my heroic die covers 7. I don't take any damage. You died, Spikalon. Cool, cool, cool. All right, so I will give my reward. What do I want to do with this card here? I can get 3 experience, but I need 8 to level up now. Or I can... wow. Okay. This is rude. Oh, it has the magic one I'm looking for. You guys are probably screaming out there going, duh, you were looking for the blue ability. Yes, I was. Now that I can have it, so that'll help me out because I'm always hurting in the blue things. Okay, so now I have 3 swords, 4 agility tokens, and now I will have 2 magic dice here. And I have to, it says, when I start a turn here, does that when it happens, do I lose that? So while visible, place a damage token here for each time spent. Each time there are 3 tokens. Okay, at the end of any turn, the heroes may descend. Okay, so at the end of my turn, I'm going to descend, so I don't end up taking more damage. So basically, you shuffle all these guys up. We're going to move this to level 2, and I'm going to go ahead and divide this up. I'm going to do Lair 2, which I have now. I have to cover up 8 in sword and 7 over here, or 2 5s, one with a shield and one with a poison if I get the peril. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching, and watch part 2. Until next time, keep the dice rolling.